Thank you so much for joining today's session and for being with us today. We'll be talking about certificate lifecycle management in today's session. I'm Meenakshi Sundaram. I'll be your moderator for today's session. And I'm joined by Sean, our senior product expert from Manage Engine PAM360. So today's session is going to be all about managing the life cycle of TLS certificates in your environment, starting from the discovery process, how you can discover all the certificates in your enterprise, how you can set timely reminder alerts for these certificates, so that you're on top of these certificates before they even expire, and how you can renew these certificates, create new certificates, and also deploy them on your endpoints. So the entire session will be run by Sean. You're in great hands right now. Before I hand the session over to Sean, just a quick bunch of house rules from my side. So by default, all attendee lines will be muted. So if you're a new attendee or if you're new to our masterclass series, you should know that at any point you can raise your questions using the Q&A panel that you find in your Zoho meeting account. So once you find that Q&A section, feel free to post your questions as and when you have them. We have our product experts here who will help you with your questions right then and there. But that being said, we also have an entire Q&A session that we'll open up for questions at the end. So feel free to post your questions at the end as well if you want an interactive session with Sean at the end. And yes, the session will be recorded and all the attendees will receive a copy of this recording. However, I would request you to stay throughout this session so that you can learn a lot from us and also post your questions and get them clarified right then and there. Before moving on, if you have any feedback for us, if you have any topics that you would want us to cover in our next series, feel free to write to hello-pam360 at manageengine.com. We'll be happy to take all your feedback and we'll ensure that we incorporate all your feedback in the next session. So right now, I'll just quickly hand the session over to Sean so that he can get you started right away. All yours, Sean.
Thanks, Meenakshi Sundaram. Hello, everyone. A good day to all of you, and thanks for attending this masterclass amidst your busy schedule. Once again, I'm Shakti Shankar, and I take care of customer success for the PAM suite of products. In today's digital landscape, safeguarding sensitive information and maintaining robust security protocols is paramount. PAM360 not only excels in password management, but also offers a powerful certificate lifecycle management feature, enabling you to efficiently manage digital certificates within your organization. In this session, we are going to look at how we can leverage PAM360 to manage the complete lifecycle of SSL and TLS certificates in your organization. According to Gartner, the average cost of IT downtime is around 5,600 per minute. And so when we mismanage certificates, so around 60% of organizations have experienced at least one certificate-related outage with an average of 2.4 outages per organization per year. And 74% of organizations state that outages disrupt their IT systems, and 60% report that outages caused a decline in customer trust and confidence. So this report is from Forrester. Now, let me give you a few examples. SpaceX actually went down due to an expired certificate. So this was actually posted by Elon Musk on Twitter, saying that this is due to an expired certificate and they're going to shortly bring it up. So it's not just SpaceX. There is one more example from Microsoft Teams. So in case if you guys are using Microsoft Teams, you would have experienced an outage as Microsoft has actually forgot to renew an SSL certificate. Not only these, back in February this year, so Disney Hotstar, which was actually hosting the India-Australia match, also went down, but this is due to a domain expiry. So all these problems could have been solved in case if they have used an effective certificate lifecycle management tool. So it's important to automate the certificate management within your organization. So once we start implementing it, okay, so we have like a few of our PAM360 customers already leveraging the certificate lifecycle management feature within the product. And so many of them have informed that like they have, it has been like of paramount help to solve any kind of like certificate outages. So enterprise customers have reduced a certificate-related instance by 90% and reduced certificate renewal time by 75%, leading to a 60% reduction in operational costs. Okay, so the main problem here is that like you go ahead and get a certificate, okay, and it's up to you for to like follow up when the certificate is going to expire. If it's going to be like just few certificates, that's completely okay. But when it's a huge organization, okay, or else an organization with limited certificates, but those certificates are of like high importance, it's important to track all those certificates, like when they are going to expire, who the third party signing authority is, like when the renewal has to take place. So this has to be completely pre-planned. But when you automate this, you can like stay worry free, and the tool will take care of the rest. And so organizations that implement public key infrastructure and certificate lifecycle management solution sees a 50 to 75% reduction in the cost of managing digital certificates. You'll be able to actually like save like man costs here, like the total number of people who needs to actually manage the certificates will gradually come down, because there has been like no kind of human intervention required when we implement a certificate lifecycle management tool that can actually automate this for us. So how does Manage Engine help here? So Manage Engine PAM360 like adopts a comprehensive certificate lifecycle management strategy, wherein we'll be able to perform complete lifecycle management of all the SSL certificates, starting from end-to-end certificate discovery, timely alerts about the certificate expiry, assisting you with certificate creation and renewal. And once the certificates are created, renewed, we will be able to go ahead and deploy these certificates on target locations. And not only this, we actually integrate with a few major third-party signing authorities like GoDaddy, DigiCert, Let's Encrypt, Sec2Go, and we are also in works with like other major third-party signing authorities to solve any kind of gaps. So with these, we'll be able to like run discovery scans across the network, bring up all the certificates and store them in a single repository within PAM360, show all the certificates from a single interface, alert you about certificate expiries, help you with the certificate renewal process, or even if you want to create new certificates that could be achievable. And once these certificates are created or renewed, we can help you with the deployment of these certificates to target locations. So let me go ahead and share the PAM360 interface from where we can actually look at all these features. So let me quickly log in here. So this is the PAM360 interface, and right here you'll find a certificates tab from where we'll be able to manage the certificate lifecycle. So if you want to manually add these certificates one by one, you can very well do that. You can just click on the add button here to browse and add the certificates. Certificates can be manually added in these formats: CER, CRT, PEM, DR, P7B. Even if you have the certificate content, the same can be placed here. Or if you have the key store files like PFX, JKS, key store, you can very well browse and add them along with their passwords. Okay, or if you think that you don't want to like bring in the actual certificate, but you just want to be notified about certificate expiry, you can very well create a CSV file with information like certificate name, serial number, validity, expiry date, issuer information, and then you can just add them inside the tool, so that in case if these certificates are going to expire, you'll be duly notified. You'll not be able to manage the certificates, but you'll be receiving alerts about certificate expiry. Now we also have a discovery feature wherein we can make use of these different discovery features to run discovery scans across your network to bring in the certificates. Okay, so under certificate discovery option, you can find we have options to like provide a host name, IP range, subnet, or a from file option using which we can run discovery scans and bring in the certificates. So for example, let's let's see, if you want to like bring in a certificate, a single certificate of a specific website, okay, all we have to do here is like just type in server name or host name or else the website name here and provide the port number on which the certificate is actually hosted. So if you have like multiple ports associated with it, you can also have the multiple ports added here and then just hit the discover button. So this will go ahead and start a discovery scan and let us know if the certificate discovery was a success or a failure. So as you can see, it has found a certificate in the port 443, okay, and the certificate is added inside PAM360 interface right now. So the other two ports, there were no certificates, so it just like came out as connection timed out. Likewise, we can also provide an IP range here, like a start IP and end IP address. In case if you wish to exclude any IP address within that particular range, that can be very well done. And if we have multiple ports, we can enter those ports in comma separated values. Now, the timeout for the certificate discovery is 5 seconds. In the sense, right now we try to discover Google's certificate, right? So the maximum time we will wait for a response is 5 seconds. Normally, if there is a certificate, the certificate would be added within few milliseconds. But in case if there is no certificate, we'll wait for a maximum of 5 seconds and then drop that particular request. If you want to change this, you can very well change this. The default would be 5 seconds. And we also have a subnet-based discovery wherein you can enter the IP address in the CIDR format and then run a scan across your subnet. File option would come in handy when you want to run discovery scans where certificates are hosted publicly. So if you have the website names or else like their host names and the IP addresses, we can just like create a text file in the format, like for example, google.com, leave a space, 443, enter, manageengine.com space 443, 7272. You can just like create a text file like that, browse for it and hit the discover button. In case if you want a bypass proxy, you also have a bypass proxy settings here, and this would be available for all discovery options available here. So this is how we'll be able to run discovery scans for certificates hosted online. Same way, we will also be able to bring in certificates that are associated with your mail service, or if you have any load balancers which are SSH based, we can very well use this feature to discover those certificates. So for example, we support Big IP F5 and Citrix out of the box right now. In case if it's going to be a different SSH based load balancer, you can just use general here, provide the path where the certificates are stored, provide the server name, user account and password, or else a key file, and we can discover these certificates. Shared path discovery would be used to bring in certificates that are stored locally on Windows machines, Linux, or Mac OS. So for example, if I want to bring in a certificate from a specific Windows server, I can just like enter that particular server name, provide credentials using which I can navigate to the specific path, and then bring in the certificates inside the product. The same goes for Linux and Mac OS as well. We also integrate with Active Directory so that we can bring in like user certificates. So these user certificates would be used for users to log into their systems or else like any specific applications. We normally use our domain credentials like a username and password to log in, right? Few organizations will have certificates associated with them where they can make use of certificate-based authentication. In case if you want to use it, you can very well make use of this AD user certificate discovery page in PAM360 to discover those certificates and manage those certificates. We also integrate with Microsoft Certificate Store and Microsoft Certificate Authority. So Microsoft Certificate Authority is nothing but your internal signing authority from where you want to discover these certificates. So we will need to like provide the certificate authority server name, provide a privileged account and password. And in case if you're already running the PAM360 service with a privileged account, we can just enable this checkbox, provide the Microsoft CS server name here, and then we'll be able to discover the certificates. You have options to include the expired certificates if need be or revoked. You can also like use a date filter to bring in certificates signed during a specific time period. And if you want to discover certificates according to specific templates, you can just enable this checkbox, and then you will find all the templates issued by your internal signing authority here. You can choose the required template and then hit the discover button. So this will take some time for the certificates to be discovered, and the certificates would be added inside PAM360 certificates interface. Now we also have a different option here called certificate store. So what is the difference between Microsoft Certificate Authority and Certificate Store? Microsoft Certificate Authority is your internal signing authority from where you get your certificates issued. Certificate store is something which will be available in all Windows machines, whether it's going to be a workstations or else servers, you'll have a certificate store. When you install a certificate on a particular Windows machine, the certificate would be installed on the certificate store of that particular server. Okay, and we can discover those certificates from PAM360 interface from the discovery page. So we need to provide the server name, provide the credentials once again, and we can either discover all certificates or else we can like go ahead and then just type the particular store name and discover certificates, or else we can also click on get stores, which will provide all your stores like personal store, root, or anything else. We can choose a specific store and discover certificates. Now, in case if you want to like do it across a network, we can also use the IP address range, wherein you can provide a start IP address, end IP address, provide the privileged account which can bring in the certificates for us, and provide the store name to discover these certificates. And we also integrate with Manage Engine mobile device management. So this once again is a Manage Engine product, okay, wherein if you already using Manage Engine MDM solution to manage any of your mobile devices like Android devices, iOS, or else any other devices like tablets, routers, printers, anything. If you want to manage certificates on those devices, you can leverage this integration to manage the life cycle of those certificates as well. Now, other than this, we also integrate with Amazon AWS so that we can bring in the certificates for you from ACM and IAM. So we just need to register the AWS credentials here, and then we'll be able to easily discover those certificates. And we also integrate with Azure, so using which we can like integrate with Azure Key Vault and then bring in certificates issued by Azure Key Vault. So these are the different discovery options available within PAM360. We also have agents, certificate-based agents, SSL agents within PAM360. So once again, these agents would be used only if there is a requirement for them to be deployed onto the target machines. That is, if there is a firewall in between the PAM360 server and the target machine, or else if the servers are behind a DMZ, we can very well install the agent and we can run discovery scans through this agent to bring in the certificates. Now, this discovery, what we saw right now is an on-demand discovery. Now, in case if you want to schedule it so that like you can very well automate it so that the schedule will run this discovery scans like let's say every 6 hours or every day, every week, every month, so that any new certificates deployed onto your network would be automatically added inside PAM360 page. Now, this can be achieved by navigating to admin, and under SSH SSL, we have schedules from where we can click on the add schedule button, choose the type of discovery we want to perform, and then like say how frequently it needs to run, okay, and then save it so that the tool will automatically run this scheduled discovery, and then by the end of it, it will actually send us a report in either a PDF format or a CSV format. So these are how we'll be able to discover certificates inside PAM360. So we have discovered all the certificates. Now what's going to happen here is like the tool will go ahead and process this information and perform few jobs and then display the same on the dashboard screen for us. When we go to the dashboard and keys dashboard, it will provide us information like the health of all the SSL certificates that's been discovered from your network. So it can show you a certificate chart about the total number of certificates which have already expired, or the ones expiring next 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days. And it can also provide you a distribution of all the certificates within your organization, like total number of self-signed certificates or certificates signed using your internal signing authority, or else like any third-party signing authorities. All those information will be showed under the certificate authority chart. And in case if any of these certificates are signed using SHA-1, or else if the key size is less than 24, we will consider them as policy violations, and the same would be displayed on screen right here. So SHA-1 certificates are no more accepted by Google Chrome, as you understand. Okay, it will mark it as not secure. So those certificates would be flagged as not secure and will be shown as a policy violation. We also have a vulnerabilities chart here. So if any of the certificates stored inside PAM360, let's assume they are got affected by known vulnerabilities like Poodle or Heartbleed, or else if these certificates are revoked, the same would be marked as vulnerabilities in this particular page. Other than this, when we go to the certificates page, in case if any of these certificates have actually like expired, we'll find those certificates marked in red. And if they are going to expire next 30 days, it's going to be in orange. And if it's going to be 90 days, it will be marked in red. And we'll also find the total number of days, key size, signature algorithm, and even domain expiration information. So if these certificates are tied to any specific domain, you can also see when these domains are actually going to expire. Now, when we import these certificates or discover these certificates from your network, these certificates would be available as just like public keys. Okay, so we'll be just downloading the .cer files, right? So it means that we'll be able to export these certificates out as CR, CRT, DR, P7B. And in case if you have the actual key file and passphrase, you can very well select those certificates, go to more and choose the import key option to browse and add those key files and as well as enter the password so that you can make it as a package. So once that's available, you'll be able to export these certificates out. So let me look if I have any specific certificate here using which. Okay, so for example, let's take this particular certificate. So we'll be able to export it as like JKS, PFX, PEM, even export the private key. Or if you want to like export them like key files or else like P7B formats, CR files, you can also very well do that by clicking on the certificate name. And the passphrase which you entered while importing this particular key file would be available here. So you'll be able to view that particular passphrase. So if you have like intermediate certificate, root certificate, so whatever the certificate is available as a package, everything would be displayed in this particular page. Now the certificates have actually, let's say, it's going to give us information about like certificate expiry on screen, right? Now, in case if you want to release receive alerts about certificate expiry, the same can be configured by navigating to the admin page. And then under SSH SSL configuration, you have something called notification settings, from where we'll be able to configure this. By default, we will inform you about certificate expiry before 30 days. In case if you want to customize it, you can very well do that. Let's say I want to like set it up to 90 days. Before 90 days, I should be notified about certificate expiry. Yes, that can be done. And I don't want to receive these emails daily, but let's say I want to receive it every 5 days. Yes, we can do it. In case if you're not going to renew the certificates and it's going to be like last 5 days or 7 days, let's assume, and you want to be receiving these emails daily, that can be very well configured. So I'll be receiving the first notification before 90 days, and every 5 days I would be reminded about it. Last 7 days I would be receiving these alerts daily. And you also have options to receive information about let's say certificates, where they are hosted, or else let's say you don't want to receive this email as a digest alert as a digest. Instead, if 5 certificates are going to expire, you need like 5 different alerts. We can also very well enable this option. So these alerts can be configured to be sent out as email notifications, syslog, SNMP, and we also integrate with ticketing systems like Service Desk Plus and ServiceNow. Managed Engine Service Desk Plus is an own product, so you can integrate with it, or else ServiceNow, so that if any of the certificates are going to expire, or else if they're going to be affected by vulnerabilities, we can very well create a ticket or an incident in the Service Desk Plus or ServiceNow tools. So these are the different methods using which you can receive alerts about certificates expiring. Now, if the certificates are going to expire, and if these certificates were signed by your internal signing authority, like the Microsoft Certificate Authority, or else if any of these certificates or self-signed certificates, we can very well automate the certificate renewal process. So for this, so other than this, we also like integrate with few third-party signing authorities. Let's take a look at this and let's come back to this. So if you see, we also directly integrate with a few third-party signing authorities other than Microsoft Certificate Authority, which is an internal one. So we integrate with like Let's Encrypt, Bypass, Go SSL, Zero SSL through Acme, and we directly integrate with GoDaddy, DigiCert, Global Sign, SSL Store, which further helps us with certificate signing through Sectigo, Symantec, GeoTrust, Rapid SSL, and also Sectigo. We are also like integrating with Entrust right now, and that should be possibly available like this year end or else like early next year. Okay, and we are also working on a private CA feature, which will once again should be available early next year. So with the private CA feature, you can like host your own CA within your organization. All you have to do here is like just like install the root certificate of your private CA across all your devices, wherein you can make use of a GPO to push it. And then any certificate signed through this private CA will be valid across all the devices in your network. So these are the few third-party signing authorities with whom we directly integrate. So there's going to be an API integration. So let's assume you have a GoDaddy account. All you have to do here is like just go to GoDaddy page in PAM360, click on account, provide the key, secret, and customer number. It's going to be the same process across all vendors. Okay, and once that is done, you'll be able to import all your existing certificates and orders, and these certificates would be added inside the PAM360 certificates interface. And if any of these certificates are going to expire, we can just like come to this particular page, select the certificate, and click on the renew button. Okay, so in case if it's going to be signed by your internal signing authority, it's going to ask like there are no private keys because we just like discovered the .co file alone, and it'll ask us to renew it from this particular page. If it's going to be a self-signed certificate, all it's going to do here is like just ask for validity and allow us to renew that certificate. If it's going to be any of the third-party signing authorities, we can actually go to the particular page of that particular vendor, select the certificate, and click on the renew certificate button. We'll also be able to order certificates from this interface. So this integration is completely an API integration with all the third-party signing authorities. So it means that we are only going to facilitate the certificate signing and renewal process, but we are not going to handle your credit card information or wallet. So you'll have your credit card information, or else like you'll have already purchased the products on the third-party vendor sites like GoDaddy. Okay, and once that is done, you can just come to the GoDaddy page or DigiCert Global Sign, and then you can populate this particular page with the required data and generate a certificate. So this certificate request will go to the vendor. They will sign the certificate, and the certificate should be automatically added inside PAM360 interface for us. Okay, and the certificate signed once again would be available as a package for us, and you'll be able to export all these certificates as per your requirement. Now, other than this, if we have a requirement to create self-signed certificates, yes, that's completely possible. All we have to do here is like under certificates page, we just need to click on the create button. From where we can like enter all the required information. So I'll just like call this as something like self-signed 01 for our identification. Provide the SAN names and comma separated values, and then populate this information. You can also create templates, predefined templates, so that you can just choose the template and it will automatically fill up all the required information. And I can also create short-lived certificates by choosing the days option. By choosing the minutes option, or else I can very well do a certificate for, let's say, 365 days, or else like 10 hours or anything like such. And I will also be able to securely generate a password here according to a specific enforced policy, and then create a self-signed certificate. We also have options to create code signing certificates, data encryption, CRL sign, server authentication, timestamping, OCSP signing, or client authentication certificates for the self-signed certificates that we are going to generate. If you want to create a certificate signing request so that you can get this certificate signing request signed from your internal signing authority, or using a route, or else send it for signing from to a third party signing authority, that can be very well done. So we can just click on the create button here, create the certificate signing request, or else if you already have the key store file, you can browse for it or generate a new certificate signing request. and then get the certificate signing request signed from your third-party signing authorities or internal signing authorities. Once the CSR is generated, you'll find them added here. And if you click on it, you'll find the CSR content. If you click on the export button, you will also find the CSR key store and as well as the private key file. Now, all I have to do here is like choose the CSR and get the certificate signed from my internal signing authority. Or else if I have a root certificate, I can choose the root certificate so that I can sign those certificates. If it's going to be a Microsoft certificate authority, then the requirement is we need to run the PAM360 service with a privileged account, which has enough permissions to issue certificates from your internal signing authority. So I just need to choose the server name, certificate authority name, and then I have to like select the right template using which I want to sign the certificate and hit the sign button, and PAM360 will get the certificates issued from your internal signing authority. Or if you want to send this for signing to a different third-party signing authorities, which possibly we are not supporting right currently, you can very well provide the mail ID here and send it to them for signing as well. So this is how we'll be able to get the certificate signed or create a certificate signing request. So as I already informed, we are also working on the private CA feature, which should be possibly available maybe like Q1 next year. So once that is available, you can create your own root certificate and use that root certificate to sign other certificates within your organization. So if this root certificate is pushed to all servers over GPO, okay, then the certificate signed by private CA of PAM360 would be trusted on all of your devices. So instead of using self-signed certificates or Microsoft signed certificates, you can just make use of the private CA, which is going to be your own CA. Now, once the certificates are renewed or else like generated, the next job is to go ahead and deploy these certificates onto target machines. So the options that are available for us right now is you can download the certificate in the required format, copy the certificate to the target machine, install it, or else like perform whatever job is necessary. There is a manual method. But with PAM360, the certificate can be selected from this page, and you can just click on the deploy button, wherein you'll be able to deploy all the certificates or specific certificates using any one of these options provided here. So if you want to just perform a file transfer to a Windows machine or a Linux machine, all we have to choose here is like just click on the Windows button, okay, and then provide the server name of that particular Windows machine, and then provide a privileged account and password. Or else if you are running PAM360 with a privileged account already, we can just enable this checkbox, provide the path where we want to place this particular certificate file, and then choose the format in which you want the files to be transferred, provide a name for this certificate, and hit the deploy button. So PAM360 will go ahead and deploy this certificate on this server on this particular path in the chosen file formats. The same thing can be achieved for Linux as well. We'll be able to push certificates to Linux machines. Or if your requirement is to install the certificates on certificate stores of Windows machines, yes, we can very well do that. We just need to provide the server name, privileged account, a temporary path, and then we can make use of the computer account or else the user account to install the certificate. If you want to like use an account stored in PAM360, you can also very well do that. You can provide the server name and the username. Or else if you're already running PAM360 service account with enough credentials to deploy this and install the certificate, you can just leave this checkbox enabled. You also have options to manually enter the credentials here as well. We also can actually bind certificates to sites. So using this IIS binding feature, what we can achieve here is that we'll be able to like enter the server name on which the IIS is actually running. Okay, discover all the sites, select a specific site, bind the certificate, and if need be, we'll also be able to restart those sites. We can also push certificates to browsers, AWS ACM, and if you're using Manage Engine mobile device management, you can very well like push certificates to all the devices which Manage Engine MDM is actually managing. Or else if you want to push certificates to the load balancers, yes, that can be very well achieved. So if you look at here, we have achieved the complete lifecycle management of SSL certificates. So we were able to discover certificates, alert us about certificate expiry, renew those certificates, internally self-signed or third-party certificates, doesn't matter. We'll be able to like renew all those third-party signing authorities. Like we will help you with renewal of the ones that we actually support. And we are also going to provide an Acme support in maybe Q1 or Q2, wherein like you can have like other third-party signing authorities added by yourself. So right now we have provided Let's Encrypt, right? So likewise, you'll be able to add your own vendors, okay, right here using this Acme protocol, okay, and you'll be able to manage the certificates using PAM360. So we will be able to renew the certificates. Once the certificates are renewed, we will also be able to deploy these certificates onto the target machines. So the complete lifecycle management has been achieved using PAM360 here. Now, other than this, we also provide end-to-end management of certificates signed by your Microsoft Certificate Authority. So for this, we have provided a dedicated page under the certificates in PAM360. So as you can see, from this interface, you'll be able to request certificates from your internal signing authority. Okay, so if you already have created a certificate signing request, you can choose it, or else if you want to create a certificate signing request, you can very well do it and send it for signing. So once the certificates are discovered, okay, and when it's going to expire, if you want to renew that, you can just select that certificate, click on the renew button from this particular page itself. Or else if you want us to like discover certificates from your internal signing authority, you can just click on the discover button, provide all the required information, and then we'll be able to run a discovery scan to pull in all those certificates. Or if you want to revoke any certificates that's been issued by your internal signing authority, the same thing can be done from the same interface. And if you want to delete certificates, not from PAM360 alone, but also on Microsoft Certificate Authority itself, that can be very well possible. You just need to select delete selected certificates from MSCA. Due to security reasons, you can only delete a maximum of five certificates at a time. So complete management of SSL certificates issued from your Microsoft Certificate Authority is achievable here. So integrations with public CAs. So we already covered that, like we'll be able to integrate with GoDaddy, DigiCert, Global Science, 60Go, SSL Store, and we also integrate with Let's Encrypt over Acme. And we are going to open the Acme protocol for you so that like you can add your own third-party signing authorities to it. So as we discussed earlier, so there is going to be an API integration wherein you will need information like API key or else like credentials. It depends upon the signing authority that you're working with. Okay, so we just need to like provide the username or password for global sign. If it's going to be DigiCert, it's going to be the API key name on the key file. If it's going to be GoDaddy, it's going to be something like the key file secret and customer number. So this will create an API integration in between PAM360 and the third-party signing authorities so that they can actually facilitate the certificate signing and renewal process for us. So each and every action that takes place within PAM360 is going to be audited. We already know that. So this also includes certificate lifecycle management. We also have extensive reports which you can actually make use of. So you just need to navigate to the audit page and go to certificate audit to look at like all the transactions taking place within the certificates page. If it's going to be for like a discovery of SSL certificates, in the discovery page itself, on the top right hand side, you have a discovery audit. And in the reports page, we also have a certificate reports, like we have few predefined reports which you can actually make use of. So for example, when we run this discovery scan, okay, across your network, let's assume you have a certificate which is actually a wildcard and it's used on like multiple servers. Okay, then if this discovery has actually looked at all those servers, it has scanned all those servers, it will add that particular server list in the multiple servers page. Okay, so it will provide us a list of all the servers from where the certificate was actually discovered from. So wildcard certificate installed on 10 servers, 100 servers, doesn't matter. If the scan which we executed has covered all those servers, this multiple servers list will actually provide this information. The same thing can also be retrieved as a report from this particular page. We can just navigate to reports, and then click on certificate reports, from where we can create wildcard certificate reports. Okay. And so wildcard SSL certificate report. So this will go ahead and generate a report for us. So for example, it's google.com. If I click on it, it will show us like all the machines where the certificate is actually used. Okay, and we also have like few other wildcard certificates here. So it's not just wildcard certificates. It could be a normal certificate, but used on like multiple servers. Same thing is possible. It will provide us information of all the servers where the certificate is actually being consumed. Other than this, we also have SSL expiry reports which can be generated, or certificate signing reports showing you like totally how many certificates were signed using the product. And we also have reports based on specific vendors like DigiCert, GoDaddy, SSL Store, Global Sign. So you can also like generate these reports to see like how many certificates from a specific vendor were actually managed by PAM360. So a quick recap. So in this particular masterclass, we saw what certificate lifecycle management is and how we can make use of PAM360 to achieve it. And we were able to like discover certificates and manage those certificates using PAM360, track certificate expiry and alert relevant stakeholders about the expiry, create certificate signing requests and send them for signing, or even create self-signed certificates, renew expiring certificates and deploy those certificates on target endpoints, manage the lifecycle of certificates from Microsoft Certificate Authority, and automate certificate management through Acme tools. So the certificates, we also have the options wherein you can create certificate grouping. So in the sense, let's assume you want to group certificates together according to team, department, or vendor. You can very well do that. All you have to do here is like click on the add group button. And from right here, you can either manually choose those certificates to create a certificate group, or else you can also specify a criteria, like for example, issuer equals DigiCert or GoDaddy, whatever it is, and you'll be able to create a certificate group. So these grouping will also help you with running schedule scans for these specific certificates alone and send out alerts about certificate expiry. You can just like provide a group email here. So if any of the certificates chosen on this particular group is going to expire, you will also be receiving an additional email. So alerts can be sent out globally from admin SSL config notification settings and the email that you're going to provide here. So it can send you alerts to this email address. You can also provide a distribution list, or else like provide emails in comma separated values, doesn't matter. Or you can also receive alerts from certificate groups, where you're going to create a group and then like go to the schedule page under admin schedules and then add schedule and then choose SSL expiry over here. And then like you can just like provide choose the group certificate group option. Okay, so that in addition to like already existing notifications, you will also be receiving alerts to this particular certificate group. Or if you want to like assign something like an owner who will be receiving these alerts, that can also be very well like configured. You just need to click on the certificate, click on the edit button, and then you'll be able to add the email address here, expired notification email, so that in addition to everyone else receiving, the stakeholders, the email alert would be sent to the specific owner of the certificate. So that's about certificate lifecycle management in PAM360. So if you have any questions, the floor is open for questions.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Shakti. So, folks, if you have any questions, please feel free to raise them using the Q&A option that you find on your Zoho meeting panel. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to raise them right now. Our expert will be able to help you with your queries. And not just that, if you have any queries in the future, you can also write to us. If you need a full-fledged demo of our product, you can feel free to write to our support team. Our support email address is pam360-support@manageengine.com. So at any point, if you have any further queries, you can write to us as well. I am sharing this email address with you so that everyone can make use of this later. However, we still have a few minutes to go. So if you have any questions, feel free to raise them right away. If not, feel free to write to PAM360-support at manageengine.com. So this session brings us to the end of this masterclass series. So this was season 2 of PAM360's masterclass series. So we've seen all the main, or rather all the key capabilities of PAM360, and we've dived deep into identifying all the different capabilities of PAM360. So I'll talk about that a little later. I think we have a question for now. So question for you, Shakti. Sean Frank wants to know, does it have the capabilities of renewing certs for NPS servers in the deploy similar to IIS bind?
Okay, so let me just take a look at the question. Sorry. Okay, does it have the capabilities of renewing certs for NPS servers in the deploy similar to IIS binding? So right now we do not have a straightforward method to perform this, but I will take this as a feature request, talk to a dev team and get back to you. So Harry, please do note the email address of Sean Frank so that we can respond to him after talking to our developers.
Of course.
So for certificate management, in the sense to manage certificates on NPS servers, like discovering them or else renewing them, that's not a problem. But to deploy and bind, okay, we need to look at the possibilities.
Folks, as I just mentioned, I have dropped the link to all the previous episodes from this season's masterclass. So this recording will be processed and shared with all the attendees in about a couple of days from now. So you wouldn't have to worry about the recording. We'll be sharing it with you. But you can also access the link that I've shared with you guys to take a look at all the previous episodes from this season's masterclass.
Okay, so does we also have a question from Sean? Does the add-on for PMP act the same? Yes, the add-on for PMP will also act the same as PAM360. So there could be you may not find few features on Password Manager Pro. It could be because of the catch-up releases. Okay, so it depends upon the release cycle. So you'll also get all those features in Password Manager Pro add-on as well. Sean, I will also drop you an email on steps to configure certificate deployment to NPS server. You can very well try that on your end, and you can just report us back in case if any further help would be needed. We'll be happy to provide the same. To you, Meenakshi.
Thank you so much, Shakti, and thank you so much, Sean, and all the others who have been a part of this session. If there are no further questions, we'll be winding this session up. Thank you so much for being a part of this session today and throughout this series. We'll be super happy to, get in touch with you guys in the next part, in the next season of PAM360's masterclass sessions. Feel free to share your feedback with us. As I had mentioned earlier, you can always send your feedback to hello-pam360 at manageengine.com. If you want us to cover other topics that were previously not covered, or if you want us to tweak certain things about our masterclass sessions as well, please feel free to drop your feedback. This is the email address that you should write to. Thank you so much and have a great day. Take care. See you guys. Thank you.